Asher slumped into the corner booth at Vinyl Cafe, a half-empty coffee in front of him, and a faraway look in his eyes. His phone sat on the table, screen lit with a photo he hadn't been able to stop staring at all afternoon. His ex, Liam, arms draped around some new guy, laughing like the past 2 years with Asher had never happened. Asher! Jace slid into the seat across from him, a concerned frown pulling at his mouth. His usual cocky grin was missing, replaced with something quieter. "You've been sitting here for, 2 hours?" Jace said, waving at the untouched muffin on the plate. "And you haven't even touched the blueberry bomb, which is a crime, by the way." Asher sighed and pushed his phone away. "I'm fine." Jace raised an eyebrow. "That's what people say right before they dramatically fall apart." Asher gave a weak laugh, rubbing the back of his neck. "It's whatever. Liam's moved on. Good for him." Jace leaned forward, elbows on the table, voice low and teasing. "Or we make him think you've moved on too." Asher blinked. "What?" Jace grinned, eyes dancing with mischief. "Fake boyfriend. Me and you. We'll light up Instagram with pictures. You get to walk past Liam smiling, holding my hand, while he stands there wondering how you moved on so fast, and why you look so damn happy without him." Asher let out a snort, shaking his head. "You're ridiculous." Jace wagged his finger playfully. "And yet, you're thinking about it." Asher opened his mouth, then closed it. His lips twitched, the start of a smile tugging at the corners. "You're actually serious?" "Dead serious," Jace said softly, his eyes warm and bright. "Come on, Ash, let's have some fun with this." Asher hesitated, a picture of Liam's smug face flashing through his mind. He let out a slow breath. Before he could talk himself out of it, he mumbled, "Fine." Jace's face lit up, his grin stretching wide, almost boyish. "Yes, this is gonna be good. We start tomorrow." Asher couldn't help but laugh softly, shaking his head. "What am I getting myself into?" Jace clapped him on the shoulder, still grinning. "Don't worry, you're in good hands." The next day at lunch, Asher and Jace sat on the grass right in the middle of campus. Students walked past, laughing, eating, stretched out under trees. Jace sat close, way closer than usual. Without warning, he draped his arm over Asher's shoulders, pulling him in like it was the most natural thing in the world. "So get this," Jace said, eyes bright. "My neighbor? Total maniac. She set up a motion-activated sprinkler because someone's cat kept walking through her yard." Asher laughed softly. "You're kidding." "Nope. I almost got soaked just grabbing my mail." Jace grinned, leaning in until Asher could feel the light brush of his breath. "You should come by. It's like living next to a sitcom." Asher shifted, trying to ignore how warm Jace's arm felt across his shoulders, or how his laugh sent a weird, fluttery feeling through his chest. Before Asher could say anything, Jace snatched his phone off the grass. "Selfie time," he announced. "Wait, what? Come here," Jace said, pulling Asher in until their faces nearly touched. Asher froze, the smell of Jace's cologne filling his nose, his heart thudding in his ears. Snap. Jace grinned at the photo, tapping quickly through filters. "Perfect! This is gonna kill him." Asher peeked over his shoulder. In the photo, his cheeks were pink, his smile soft, eyes crinkling at the corners. He looked happy. Weird. Really weird. Jace bumped their shoulders together. "Told you we make a good fake couple." Asher gave a shaky laugh, trying to play it cool. "Yeah, guess so." But as Jace handed the phone back, their fingers brushed, and Asher felt that same strange flip in his chest. And for the first time, he wondered, what if this wasn't just an act for Jace? And what if, deep down, Asher didn't want it to be? By Friday, the plan was in full swing. Asher walked across the campus quad, grass crunching under his shoes, students milling around them. Jace's arm rested easily over his shoulders, fingers tapping a quiet rhythm on Asher's jacket. Asher tried to act normal, but inside, his heart was thudding fast. "Relax," Jace murmured with a grin. "You look like you're about to rob a bank." "I'm relaxed," Asher muttered, shoving his hands in his pockets. "Totally relaxed." Jace laughed softly, squeezing his shoulder. And then Liam. He was coming toward them, books tucked under his arm, smiling at something the guy next to him said. But when his eyes landed on Asher and Jace, the smile slipped just a little. His gaze flicked between them, mouth tightening before he looked away. Asher felt it. That small, sharp stab of victory. But before he could fully soak it in, Jace's thumb brushed lightly over his shoulder. A gentle touch, almost thoughtless. Then came a soft tug, pulling Asher just a little closer as they kept walking. Asher glanced up, expecting Jace to be smirking at Liam. But Jace wasn't looking at Liam. He was looking at Asher. His grin was soft, a little crooked. His eyes warm and crinkled at the corners, like Asher was the only thing worth paying attention to right then. For a second, everything else faded. The chatter of students, the breeze rustling the trees, even Liam's stiff shoulders as he walked away. It was just Jace. Asher's stomach flipped, a strange, nervous twist he hadn't felt in a long time. And the weirdest part? It wasn't the plan or the act or the show they were putting on. It was Jace, just Jace, making his chest ache in a way he hadn't expected at all. That night, they lounged on Asher's couch, a movie flickering on the TV, though neither of them was really watching. An empty popcorn bowl sat on the coffee table. The room was dim, lit only by the soft glow of the screen. Asher let out a quiet breath, sinking deeper into the cushions. Jace shifted beside him, turning just a little. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah," Asher murmured, eyes fixed on the TV but not really seeing it. After a moment, he added, "Thanks. For, everything." Jace's lips curved into a small smile. He nudged Asher's knee with his own, playful and light. "Anytime, boyfriend." Asher let out a soft laugh, shaking his head. "You're such an idiot." "Yeah." Jace grinned, leaning his head back against the couch, eyes half closed. "But I'm your idiot." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Asher's eyes drifted over to Jace, meant to glance away quickly, but he didn't. He watched the way Jace's hair fell over his forehead, the relaxed curve of his mouth, the quiet rise and fall of his chest as he let out a soft, content sigh. Asher's chest tightened. Maybe this was supposed to be fake. Just a plan, a harmless act. But sitting here with Jace laughing softly beside him, his heart doing little flips he couldn't explain. Jace turned his head, just a little, watching Asher with that small, crooked smile. "Hey," he murmured, voice low, "you're staring." Asher flushed, letting out a breathy laugh. "No, I'm not." "Yeah, you are." Jace's grin softened. For a second it was quiet. The kind of quiet that felt full, not empty. Jace reached over, brushing a piece of popcorn from Asher's hoodie with a lazy flick of his fingers. Asher laughed again, nervous this time, and something in his chest squeezed tight. And then, it just happened. Asher leaned in without thinking, or maybe Jace did, or maybe it was both at once. Their lips met in a quick, soft kiss, so light it almost felt like a breath. It was warm, familiar. When they pulled back, Asher's heart was pounding. Jace's eyes were wide, lips slightly parted in surprise, but then his smile crept back, smaller this time, a little stunned, a little shy. Neither of them said a word. Asher turned back to the TV, pretending to focus, his cheeks burning. Jace leaned back against the couch as he ran a hand through his hair. Outside, the night stretched on. Inside, something had shifted between them, quiet and unexpected, but very, very real. The next day, the sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows across the campus. Asher paced back and forth near the old oak tree, hands stuffed in his pockets. He heard footsteps and turned. Jace was walking toward him, hands shoved in his jacket, a crooked smile on his face. "Hey," Jace said. "What's up? You sounded weird on the phone." Asher took a breath, then blurted out, "Why did it feel so real?" Jace frowned. "What?" "The kiss," Asher said, heart racing. "Yesterday, when we—" His voice caught. "It wasn't part of the plan, Jace. So why did it feel like it mattered?" Jace opened his mouth, then shut it. His fingers twitched at his sides. For once, the easy grin was gone. "Asher, I didn't plan that either," Jace said quietly, stepping closer. Asher swallowed hard, eyes searching his face. "So?" Jace let out a shaky breath, eyes flicking away, then back. "Because it was real." His voice was soft, a little unsteady. "It's been real for me for a while." For a moment, neither of them moved. The world seemed to go quiet around them. Asher felt something click inside, like a puzzle piece snapping into place. All this time, the person he'd been looking for wasn't Liam. It was Jace. Right here, laughing with him, holding him up, pulling him close when he didn't even know he needed it. Asher let out a soft laugh, shaking his head as his eyes started to sting. "You idiot," he whispered. Jace smiled, a little nervous. "Yeah, you're idiot." Asher took a step forward, closing the space between them, his voice warm now. "Yeah, mine." A week later, Asher and Jace sat on the campus steps, watching people walk by. The air was crisp, and the sky was streaked with pink and gold as the sun set. Jace stretched his legs out in front of him and bumped his shoulder against Asher's. "So, are we still faking it? Or?" he asked. Asher laughed under his breath, shaking his head. "No more faking." Jace turned to him. "Good. I was getting tired of pretending not to actually like you." Asher felt his cheeks warm. "Yeah? By the way, you did a terrible job hiding it." Jace gave him a playful shove. "Says the guy who blushed every time I touched his hand." Asher shoved him back and they both laughed. For a second it felt like the same old teasing. But when Jace's fingers brushed against Asher's, they didn't pull away this time. They stayed there, tangled and easy, letting the moment stretch. Later, as they walked through the quad, Jace reached out and quietly laced his fingers with Asher's. No show, no crowd watching. Just them, walking side by side, their hands warm between them. Asher glanced over. "Is this okay?" he asked. Jace squeezed his hand, smiling wide. "Better than okay." Asher leaned into his side with a quiet laugh, feeling the last pieces fall into place. They weren't pretending anymore, but somehow it still felt just as fun, just as effortless, just as right. Only this time, it was real. The sun was bright that afternoon as Asher and Jace strolled through the campus quad, fingers laced together, shoulders brushing. Asher was laughing as Jace finished telling some dumb story about trying to make pancakes and setting off the smoke alarm. "I told you not to leave the pan on high," Asher said between laughs, his eyes shining. Jace grinned wide. Yeah, chef of the year, I know." They turned a corner, and there he was, Liam standing by the fountain, chatting with a friend. His eyes flicked up, landing on them. For a split second his smile froze, his gaze dipping to their joined hands, the easy closeness between them. But Asher barely noticed. He was too busy laughing as Jace bumped into his side, too caught up in the warmth of Jace's hand in his, in the sound of his voice, in the feeling that this was where he was supposed to be. They walked past Liam without a pause, without a second thought. Asher squeezed Jace's hand gently, grinning up at him. "You're the worst cook I've ever met." Jace squeezed back, eyes soft. "But you're still here." Asher laughed again, leaning into him, feeling light, happy in a way that had nothing to do with the plan they'd started, and everything to do with the boy beside him. No more pretending, just them together, real, simple, and feeling right.